It's starting the live video.
Beautiful. Great.
Can you see her?
No, I don't see anything yet. I just see the picture of her. I'm going to try to refresh.
It says watch live video. I see a table. I see Hedy on a table.
Oh, good.
It's
live now.
Yeah, it's really hard it's really hard to manage this if I don't hold it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, it is what it is. The thing is, Joni, hold your arm so that it's steady.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to shake.
Okay. Is this good?
No, it's terrible. We can't see anything of her yet.
Okay.
But I think I hear the sound. Could you talk now in live?
Mom, talk.
Okay, welcome everybody. I know we're only testing, but I want to welcome you.
Joni, if you can be a lot closer to her.
Or zoom. You can zoom in on camera.
Whatever it takes, yeah, because there's too much extraneous stuff. She should turn around and get that, then she should take off.
I'm moving closer.
Okay, take off your mask. I'm holding it sideways and it seems to be working.
Beautiful. This is better, Joe. This is better.
It sounds to me like the mic is not working.
What if we put a pillow under your neck?
Yeah, I think the mic isn't working either, but that's fine.
Okay, I'm taking the mic off. Can you hear her now? Mom, talk.
Yes. If you can hear me, that would be wonderful.
Perfect. Wait, no. I'm hearing her from the phone.
Should I hang up?
Yeah.
So text me if you can hear clearly. Eileen Cutler says working. Can you hear Mom clearly? Mom, keep talking.
Eileen, first of all, thank you for helping. You're doing it virtually. Thank you.
The mic was not working according to what Kenny said. I'm using the phone. Can you let us know if she's coming through clearly? Talk, Mom. Talk.
Yes. Today is an important day. Tomorrow is going to be very important.
Okay,
Wednesday
you're way
is
too
going-
quiet. I'm going to try putting the mic back in. Now, Mom, talk.
I'm moving a little closer. Here's what happens. I don't know because I was able to tell at home because the cars were loud. Now there are no cars. I'm at Joni's house.
So Mom is using the microphone. Is it working? It's working. Okay, you're in
Oh, I'm
business.
so glad.
You start in 1 minute, Mama.
I'll be ready. I'll be ready and waiting, and thank you all who are helping me.
Start.
Okay, everybody, welcome. This is an important week for us. We're not at home. I went to Joni because it's one of those days where there was too much commotion happening, and everything is easy now. I welcome all of you, and I'd like to begin. And I want you to know that this has been a very difficult week for everybody because of what happened on January 6th. And we're all in a shaky world right now. So I have a very close friend whom I often ask about how she sees things. And her name is Fran. And I'm going to give you her way of coping because it might help all of you if you're going through what I was going through emotionally. And that is, I said, Fran, how do you handle problems? And she said, I don't handle them. I don't deal with them. I put them in back of my brain. And I let my brain solve it. And I said, wait a minute, what kind of a brain do you have? My brain doesn't solve things that easily. And she said, oh no, all the facts are in there. It's just my feelings who are the problem. So if I put all the facts into my brain and leave them here and keep my feelings out of it, my brain takes care of it.
Elaine and Yvonne are on from Florida.
Oh, this is one of the main stories that I'll tell you about today, about Elaine and Yvonne. By the way, Yvonne is going to send me photographs of her face with a mask, and the moment I get it, I'm going to be doing a drawing, and it'll be one of the faces that I use with the mask. Okay? And I'll talk a lot about Elaine and that whole family, because they are one of the great gifts that painting in the streets have given me. That comes after I talk about how we're dealing. And Elaine and Yvonne and the whole Adler family, thank you. This is not the Adler family that I've painted the stores of. There are millions of Adlers in that world. They intermarried, they moved back and forth, and Sanford Smith had wanted to do a book about my work. And the young lady whom he hired called me and said, there are so many Adlers in every story. Why don't I put them all together and make it easy? And I said, no, they don't even know each other. That name is so popular of the people who came to Orchard Street. And they don't even live there anymore. And some of them never lived there. But it's a wonderful name.
So, Mom, Joanne Phillips says hello from Joanne, the musician you shared tea with and painted into your Green Market painting.
I was going to speak and ask you for help. I don't, and I will, because I need you back in my life. I was so excited when I saw your message on Facebook, but I cannot answer anybody through Facebook. You know how to get hold of me. Please do. Please promise me. You see, I've gotten such frightening messages, weird messages from strangers through Facebook. When I work on the street and I meet strangers, I'm not afraid because I can see them and I'm surrounded by other people who I can always call for help. But when somebody speaks to me on Facebook and I've never met them and I cannot look at them, then I cannot answer them. But you, I know so well, and I'm so happy to have you back in my life. So get information on me and email me or make a phone call. I'm sure you still have it somewhere because you're an important part of that painting of Green Market. And when Green Market comes up, I want to be able to call you and say, you're going to be on it. Okay? Thank you. And I want to say the same thing to James Hodge, who has been not only a friend of mine, but a friend of Eric's. And he sends me messages through Facebook, but I cannot answer Facebook. So please, and Emma, your work isn't open anymore. I called there, and their phone lines don't work.
She promises that she'll reach out to you, Mom.
Okay. Okay, now let me go back to this. First of all, I love you all. And let me go back to Fran. Fran came to my house to pose because I wanted to draw her and put her into my series of people who wear masks. And it was a freezing day because we don't go into the house and we don't go into any closed area. And Joni, would you read what I wrote underneath?
We shiver on the outside deck, but the joy of great conversation is worth it.
Can you see her? Because Joni is holding it with her hand. And that's why today, when I'm not home, I did not bring the subway painting because it's too heavy. Okay? Okay. I want to tell more about Fran. I said to her, Fran, because the way you solve problems and heal people is something I need to learn. When you meet people the first time, or when you've known people for a long time, how do you feel? How do you get to know them? What methods does your brain use? And she said this to me, and I'd like to share it with all of you because maybe we can heal the world if we begin to see the way Fran sees it. She said, I have a feeling that we're all connected with invisible ties. And if you hurt, I feel it. I hurt. And so I need to fix it. And how do I fix it? I let them speak, which is something that I also know my friend who was a sports writer, Steve Jacobson. He once explained how he does these incredible interviews with sports figures. And he said, I ask a question, and how they answered me gives me a clue for the next question. And very soon he talks, and I can understand him. And Fran does that because she cares. So I'd like to offer that to all of you. Thank you. If anybody has any questions about that, do you want to ask me?
Go on and talk about the Adlers.
Okay. The Adlers are a gift which is still ours today. As a matter of fact, I spoke to Elaine today and to her friend Yvonne, and I'd like you to realize this is just about half a century later. The world we met in does not exist anymore. She, like the rest of so many people in the world, loved Orchard Street. And when I went there, I didn't realize that Orchard Street in the 1970s was a meeting place for people who wanted something like the European markets. Great things at bargain prices. Great things at regular prices. But a mood and an atmosphere that no longer exists. It doesn't exist in the malls. It doesn't exist in flea markets. It existed on Orchard Street. And from what people have told me, probably in many outdoor markets in Europe. And I met Elaine in the 1970s. I think it was 1975, 76, something like this. And we began to talk. And we knew so much about each other's lives because we kept on meeting. We met each other's families. Saying we love each other is not enough. Elaine once said, "You're like the sister I never had." And that's exactly how I felt. And I believe the world is peopled with human beings whom we will never know, and some miracle of chance brings us together, and that's the Adlers. Let me have Joni put on the painting. And the story, by the way, is already on my wall. Wait, let me get it on again. It's on my Facebook wall. And Jessie has made a wonderful, wonderful website for me. And here is the painting. And I'll explain the people too in it, okay? I need to explain that neither my husband Eric or I knew how to make good photos. If we would have known that someday, half a century later, I would need the exact painting, we would have hired somebody who knew photography. As it is, the darkness in this does not exist in the real painting. They're bright and loud and wonderful. So for the next, I would say, 30 or so paintings, you have to suffer because I cannot show them the way they look now. The people who own these paintings might not be here where I could, at least I cannot reach them. They're all over the world. But let me tell you who they are. Let me put my glasses on. And let me first begin with the Adlers. Remember, this painting should be bright with every face visible, and it isn't. That's part of it being old. Okay? Mike Adler, that's Elaine's husband. He and my former husband, who also passed away, became very great friends. Both our families became friends. And as a matter of fact, they both passed away around the same time. And during those days, Elaine and I were comforts to each other. We talked about what it felt like. As I said, I never had a sister, and she did not either. And we became each other's sisters. Okay, he's in front of the Fine & Klein store. There he is. When I was doing the first painting of the Orchard Street series, the friendship of our two families is one of the beautiful things which grew out of this painting. The oldest son, Billy, stands on the right side of the street looking at the camera. This does not look like him, but it was. If someday I can find out where those paintings are that I did for the Adlers, maybe I can get a better copy made and show it this way. Remember, we never dreamed that this would become a history of our country. Donnie, the youngest boy, is walking next to the furthest Hasid. That would probably be him. Because the painting is so dull now that at least my photograph is. Marie, the youngest, is wearing a pink patterned shirt. Marie is a very beautiful looking young girl. You can't see it there. Take my word. Jimmy and Angelo are the hot dog and the ice cream. Wait. The ice cream store. The ice cream wagon.
Eileen is saying maybe I can improve this photograph for you. I'd like to try, but finding the painting would be great.
Yes, but if so, can I let you fix a lot of them? They're desperately ugly now, and they're so beautiful in real life. I'm saying it with vanity because I never stopped a painting when it didn't feel perfect. Okay? Now, Let me say a little more about the Adlers. My mother wrote a book about her life. Elaine arranged for a printer to print it. Elaine had her company make covers. Every year they send me a calendar, a book of days, which I keep on my desk. But for quite a while, I couldn't get in touch with her. Somehow or other, communication became difficult. I would leave messages, but not get an answer when she hadn't been well. Or maybe when I didn't know how to get through the new machinery we have. I'm technologically a failure. But suddenly this morning, my son called me. He said, "Mom, Elaine is on the phone." And I said, "Oh my God, can I get her?" And he said, "I'll give you her phone number." And I said, no, I have her phone number. Let me try again. And I did. And she and I had a long phone conversation together with her friend, Yvonne, who knows Facebook. It made it possible for her to listen right now. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful day. Okay, now let me go further with the people in this painting, because they're all important. Let me begin with Yetta. This is Yetta over here. Because remember, there's a reason why I did these paintings. I wanted people to stop being afraid of each other, because we don't speak to each other. And when you sit on a street and people come and speak to you, you hear them. And I'll give you Yetta's conversation, okay? Yetta used to stop and talk to me whenever she passed by. "Such a painting I would love to have, but my walls are so ugly. Maybe I'll get into a nice clean project, and then maybe you'd make me such a picture. If you stay here a while," I said, "I'll paint you into this one." "Oh no, I don't like nobody to see me when I look like this. I'm sick and I don't look good, and maybe I'll get better and then you could do it." And boy, do I understand that. Because of the virus, I can't go get my hair cut. I have a rash from the sun because I'm out a lot. I can't get that fixed either. So I understand her. Her legs were ulcerated and she walked painfully. She used to take her shopping cart wherever she went. They wanted her to go to the hospital, but she had 3 dogs and couldn't leave them. Yet I loved to watch the painting taking shape, and would paint, and it would point out everything to the people around her. She would get all excited, and her face would crinkle around her eyes, and they would become a bright young blue. "Look, she's even painting the shoes in the window." She pointed things out to people. Then sometimes weeks would go by in which I didn't see her. When she came back to the street again, she would look older, and she would wear heavier clothes and drags her leg a little slower. She hadn't been down for a long time. I painted her in the right-hand corner of the picture and blurred her features gently so that no one would recognize her and see her as she looks today. Then, this is important. The people back here, you can just vaguely see a man and a woman and children. You see, only the size of the canvas was the problem. It was so big that it overbalanced my easel, and on windy days it nearly fell down. A tall young man walked by one day, took a rope, and tied the easel to the grilled bank window. After that, his name is Roy, came often and we talk about art while I worked. One day he brought his wife and his little boy. They're either here or there. I can't see. But maybe we could fix that. And brought their little boy. And I painted them walking on with their other two children walking next to them.
So Mom, Fran says, I have professional barber scissors. I can come and cut your hair.
Who did?
Fran.
Fran, my Fran?
Your Fran. And Tammy says, where do you think we should start looking to find the Adler family paintings? Would love for you to properly photograph them. So you have two offers of help. One is to help find the paintings.
Oh.
And the other is to get a haircut from Fran.
Oh my goodness. Could you make it? Oh, this. You see, Facebook, I love you. Which does remind me of something I must say. Especially to James Hodge, who knew me and Eric for so many years. And he keeps writing to me on Facebook. But I can't answer on Facebook. So please, James, you know enough people. MILK is closed now, so I can't reach you. Reach me, but not on Facebook. I don't work with public media because there are too many weird messages that I get from people whom I will never know. I have only 7 minutes left.
Yes.
Oh, then let me quickly tell you about Ramon. Because Ramon became a real friend. Ramon is here.
Wait, let me get to your picture.
Yes. Shall I turn it?
There, okay. Where's
Okay.
Ramon?
Right here in front. Walking into the picture. Okay? There are people like Ramon who drift in and out. People who are scarcely visible. He must have been watching me paint for a long time before he first spoke. Whenever I was on the street, at some part of the day he would be there. At times he was almost sober, and at other times his voice would be soft and blurry with alcohol. When he was aware of his surroundings, he would help me when someone asked a question in Spanish. At other times, he would lean against the wall and speak softly to himself. He walks in the middle of the street,
Point on here.
right in front. He's wearing tan pants and a tan shirt and carrying a brown paper bag. Sometimes there was a bottle in the bag and sometimes a piece of southern fried chicken from the takeout place around the corner. Ramon was a very quiet and gentle man, and somehow he never looked as if he belonged to the noise and the color of these streets. And like lately, like Yetta, he seems to have disappeared from sight. Officer Frank Spalletti, can you find a policeman here? If we get the painting cleared up, the photograph cleared up, you'll find him. What I want to say about him, he reminds me of the cool, collected image of the lawman, except for his face. When you get close enough to see it, it looks warm and friendly. He towers over everyone when he patrols the area, and I put him into the middle of Orchard Street.
Find your picture again, Mama.
Oh,
Ah, okay.
thank you, Jessie. Jessie made it possible to find these so easy. I wish I knew who the rest of the people in the painting are. Let me stop and let me tell you the message that I found out now so many years later that I didn't know why I was doing the paintings, but I know it now. I know that we lose so much by segregating ourselves. It was in Panama, when we fled from Europe, from Hitler, that I met all colors, all religions, where I went to St. Mary's Academy to learn English from Swiss nuns. So believe me, I still carry their accents. It's not that I speak like somebody who came from Vienna. I think I sound like the Swiss nuns of St. Mary's Academy. Please change the world. Speak to people, get to know people. If my first best friend was Chinese, when I came to America, I found out that Chinese people were not allowed to immigrate for years. They could only come if they had a job waiting, which no Caucasian wanted. If anybody wants to speak to me, do you want to read? Is there anything I should?
Fran said, photographs do not do justice to your vibrant, sparkling, dancing paintings.
You see, Fran sees my real paintings, not from photographs.
Sandy Alzek said she still has the portrait you did of your mother hanging in her living room and adores it.
Yes.
And Eileen is willing to try to help with the photos. And Tammy sends her love. And Joanne Phillips says, bless you. And Janine Schultz is watching.
Wonderful.
And Joe Tripp is watching. And Yvonne McKenzie and Elaine are watching.
And I love you all so much. Guys, I don't mean guys, I mean people. All you people. Thank you.
Hernan is saying hi.
Thank you for being mine. And Hernan, thank you for introducing me to Linda, who teaches me how to exercise correctly and not to overdo. I am teaching Joni and Kenny to learn how to rest periods. Goodbye. I love you all. See you next Monday.